It's the savvy side of 9 to 5. Listen.
It's not a lie if you believe it.
Laugh.
We had a little fun, because it's a very long day, you know.
And learn.
Negotiation. This is what you do in business.
This is The Focus Group with Tim Bennett.
All right, let's go already.
And John Nash.
Pucker up, Buttercup.
With a focus on career, the consumer culture, and marketing from an LGBT point of view. We're all business, except when we're not.
Hey, welcome to The Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, John Nash. Look at my shirt today, John. It's a little bit.
We're also joined by Captain Kirk, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even get there yet.
All right, go ahead.
I was just looking. My shirt seemed kind of bright in that feed. Hey, we're live again. This is our second live show, but we're going to be live now from now until eternity. And you can.
We're not going to make it to eternity, but that's okay.
You can find us at YouTube here live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. East, as well as our Facebook feed. If you go to Focus Group Radio, which has all the information on the show, you'll be able to find us there as well. The audio is still available on Saturdays. It gets loaded for SoundCloud, Stitcher, and of course, we're available on the Reverie app through Apple TV. And John has some good news to report from yesterday that we are now on iHeart Radio. So you can find us through the iHeart Radio stream. So there's another potential 95 million people tuning in, John, as they would say over at our former platform.
I dropped the word potential. 95 million or
95 million.
Yeah, it sounds so much better.
Divide that by gay, you're down about 6
million.
million.
New world of alternative facts, Tim. 95 million.
95 million.
Tuning in.
Had the other ones over 1 billion. It's like McDonald's.
There you go. Served.
So you could, of course, join the conversation here. Our phone number is on the bottom of the screen, 877-962-6846. Today we've got a jam-packed show, as always, after our usual banter and so forth. We've got a comedian coming on. It's also an actor. Karl Gregory from the show Nightcap on Pop TV is going to talk to us about not only what he's doing, but also about how comedy could help in these times of our new administration. And then we're doing Tim's List, and all I'll say about Tim's List is if you want to figure out if you're happy, stay tuned.
If you're happy, stay tuned.
Yeah. I don't want people to cheat. Last week there was cheating going on the list. I said to Garrett and John that our guys in the booth.
Put on the booth.
Hello, gentlemen. That there was no way somebody picked China as the biggest producer of potatoes. There was no way.
I think you need something on the wall behind you.
Logo, maybe?
Like a movie poster or something. But now, of course, that's going to be a whole big thing of what movie poster we're going to put back there, right?
Maybe you could get Volkswagen to sponsor something.
Some nice wall art.
We'll give you their phone number. And then John brought his little dolly in today. So what is that?
Okay, so here at the studio, they get a lot of stuff. They get swag.
Yeah.
Freebies. And one day, it's James T. Kirk from the Starship Enterprise, and it's a reproduction of the original dolls they used to release back in the 60s or something.
So why are his hands like Trump? His hands are Trump color.
Tim is all worried about the fact that he looks like a Trumpkin, and his hands are like pink. And
he doesn't match up.
Tan.
It must have been made in China.
So we thought it would be like, I always like things like this because when I had my ad agency, my office was not filled, but there were a lot of toys around. They were actually all spaceships and dollies, So there you go. And you had stuff in your office too. You had cardboard cutouts and
cardboard cutouts. I started collecting these clocks from Japan. They were children's clocks. So when you wake up, they're alarm clocks. And they would yell at you in Japanese. Of course, when I would ask my Japanese coworkers what they were saying, they just would not ever tell me because they said they were poor, not proper Japanese. They were done probably in Korea or China, is what they told me. And then eventually they would say it. One of them yells, "Wake up, sleepyhead," or something. Okay. But I'll bring one of those clocks in and have it yell at you in Japanese in the morning.
I remember the time you came back on a horrible flight from Tokyo and you met me in California and you were doing a Tribeca shoot.
Oh, that's when you took me to that beautiful movie, American Beauty. One of the worst movies ever made.
I will again repeat the story that Tim fell asleep 5 minutes in and woke up 5 minutes before the end. And if you only saw 10 minutes of American Beauty, you're not getting the full picture.
John, what is this? I think I was even snoring at one point, and you walked away. You left me.
You were snoring in the theater, and all these heads are turning.
It's right up there with The English Patient. I was talking about that the other night, how bad that movie was.
The year, I think American Beauty was an Academy Award.
I think it won, probably, yeah.
And it was the year and everybody in the audience was like they're all catching up on their Academy movies, and there's Tim snoring away. And if you had that Japanese clock, because you brought a clock back on that trip, and that's the one that screams at you.
They all scream.
They all scream.
They all happen to scream. So, so in order, because last week we went over our time. You yelled at me. So.
How do I get the blame for this? Sorry, I did.
Trying to keep it under an hour, trying to keep it an
hour and 10-ish, that kind of thing.
So what caught your eye this week?
All right, so
everyone does celebrity birthday greetings,
that's
but the
wrong.
Focus Group is the only show in the.
Someone else is sleeping on the booth too.
Everyone.
Don't worry, we'll
just do it.
It's caught our eye.
That's a joy of life.
Joy of life, yeah.
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
There we go. Now we're reset. We're on the die. Okay, so this actually I saw a week or two ago, and actually it was right after the inauguration. And I thought, with all this Trump stuff and all the news and the executive orders and this and that and the bans and everything, why not have a little pleasant story about the new administration?
Oh, okay.
Something simple. And I came across a story about the pen that is traditionally used at the White House to sign executive orders, because they're normally given away.
Is it a cross pen?
It's a cross pen, exactly. So
I just guessed because I was trying to figure what's an American brand. I would have said Mont Blanc, but that would not be. That's
Mont Blanc.
French.
Yeah, it was, and so Trump uses the Century 2 black lacquer and gold rollerball pen. So there he is holding up his big thing, Donald Trump, and that's the pen that actually Trump, Obama, and Bush have favored this pen, the previous Bush.
So they must have a selection.
They do. Bill Clinton used a Cross Townsend pen, and Obama later switched to the Century 2. It is a rollerball, so if you didn't know anything, so most of us write with ballpoint pens. Rollerballs are a little different. The ink comes out really smooth and fast, and sometimes it takes a while to dry, but apparently the White House has chosen a quick-drying ink, and I think that Clinton... It was Obama.
Where was this story?
CNN. Fake news. It's fake news about a pen. They all signed, I think it was only Bush signed in blue. Everybody else signs in black. You have a choice of either black or blue.
I thought you were supposed to sign in black. Didn't somebody teach us that long ago? Blue was for, the pedestrian thing, but, official things had to be done in black.
We learned that in high school. Who taught us that?
I don't remember, but I do remember that.
I do remember blue and black were the different things. The rollerball pen sells for $110 with a $6.50 refill. The White House buys the pens for $50 a piece. Or Cross makes them available to the distributor for $50. No one really knows how much the White House is paying, and when they contacted them, a spokesperson said, we declined to comment on how much the pens cost. So there you go. And you remember during the first signing of some of the executive orders, members of Congress were present, and Trump wanted to give Nancy Pelosi the pen that was signing the submission of Elaine Chao.
Right.
Elaine Chao as Transportation Secretary, and Pelosi goes, no, I think this, Mr. Speaker, the leader wants this pen because it's Elaine Chao or whatever.
Well, there were Sessions and a couple other ones. And then Schumer started playing Let's Make a Deal.
And he did, because Schumer got Ben Carson. And he did not want Ben Carson. He ended up trading for Veterans Affairs nominee David Shulkin.
They were all shitty pens.
They're this pen. They're the Cross.
No, but I mean, who wants, you want the Ben Carson one or the DeVos pen or?
Well, apparently Chuck Schumer is like big on collecting these pens. He said you can never have too many pens, especially the signing pens.
I agree with that.
Yeah, well, and hopefully he puts a stick in it.
I don't know what this. Do we have the same pen? This came from AdMark 360. Brian, who does our socks.
This came from France. This is Mont Blanc.
Oh, this is probably made in China.
All right, so that's what caught my eye. The pen stuff.
Mine is actually a gay caught my eye, I guess, or LGBT focused. So Lush Cosmetics. Do you know Lush Cosmetics? Mm-hmm. Now, so they're out of Britain. They have a lot of different soaps and jellies and jams, and they also do these big balls of kind of bathtub bombs you throw in there, and they
the whole
fizz.
thing goes in.
Yeah, you throw it in there, and it fizzes up and gives you a little tickle. Be like if you threw like some seltzer in a adult diaper, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, they make a color. So they.
Long story short, they make a color.
But what I don't like about them is that, when you go to the malls, you can smell them. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. But I'm now going to support them even more than I did before because I do go in there and buy their homemade soaps. They have a hashtag, which is Love is Love, which they've launched right now around Valentine's Day. Prior to that, though, in the summer of 2015, they raised $425,000 US for a worldwide sale of Gay is Okay soap. And they funded LGBT.
So the
causes.
box said
Gay is okay.
that was
They
the
sold
packaging, or was
the
like
packaging
somehow...
was Gay is okay, and they raised all this money for LGBT causes. So what they've done this year, they have two different campaigns they did. Most of them they're all digital. The first one is two men in a tub, and it says our Valentine's Day goodies are even better when you've got someone to share them with. And then it gives their hashtag and tells you where to purchase. And then there's a same-sex female couple also, and that one was to all the women marching today, time for some well-deserved bubbles. And then they also said it impressed us with how many people are out supporting democracy, ... So a lot of people liked it, of course, there were the haters. How dare you do this? We're never going to buy your soap, blah, blah, blah. So they came back with, which I thought was a brilliant retort, and it was in the second slide here, if you're watching on YouTube. It says, last week we posted a photo that created quite a stir. Let us set the record straight. Big tubs do exist. So they were essentially not identifying the fact that there was same-sex couples in the tub, but that they thought, people were complaining about, two people in the tub. So yes, two bathtubs are big. All right. So I thought that was a good.
I kind of, when I saw the picture, the guy's picture, what was that? What do you think that it was? Pink, like so. Their bubble bath was
Right.
It was pink.
Yeah, do you take a bath?
I'm a
You
shower.
and your husband?
I'm a shower guy. We don't do baths. No.
Look, I buy you one of those balls. You can throw it in there and get fizzed up.
I mean,
If I buy you a ball, will you use it?
I guess we'd try it. Yeah.
All right, here's a pink ball. Yeah, I'll get you a fizzy
So
ball.
what would that be like? Would that be like a lavender thing or some?
Let's get some essential oils or whatever you get in there, and I hate a bath anyway. You're sitting in your dirt. I never liked a bath, but people do it.
It's not for me. It's I don't do them often.
I'm not going to get you one. You're not going to use it.
No, and in fact, thank you, because now I don't have to worry about getting rid of something I'm not going to use.
yeah,
So you're
you want
saving
to
me
give it to
actually
your
a lot of
sister or
time.
something.
Yeah. Well, actually, they would use it. Yeah.
So today, day in history.
Those who fail to learn from history are forced to repeat it. Enjoy this lesson from Tim, and remember, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
So today, John, February 8th is National Molasses Bar Day. Thick and sticky.
Molasses.
Molasses, thick and sticky.
Molasses bar day?
Yeah, molasses. You ever have a molasses
They look
bar?
like brownies.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Do you like molasses?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So the word comes from the Portuguese word malacco, which is taken from Latin mel, which means honey. So since the 1500s, people have been using molasses to sweeten their foods. I don't know. I've got a jar of it at home. I don't use it.
Ours is so old, I bet you can't even open it.
Yeah.
You have to crack
You
it.
don't cook with it?
Remember when I had the integrative nutritionist and it was brown rice this and molasses was part of that?
She had you on a high-carb diet.
And I wondered why I was gaining weight. I was like, Tim, I'm eating all the grains.
Rice. And your Speedo didn't fit.
Yeah, well, that hasn't fit for years.
18.
I don't know if it ever fit to begin with. That's another. I mean,
Hey, listen, I saw you at Fire Island back in the day,
yeah, that's when everybody was.
Bobby. 1861, the Confederate States of America were formed. Too bad they didn't stay. If you look at the map, you can see who they were.
If you look at the map, you could.
We are two different countries. I mean, we really are two different countries. The Confederate States are in that golden color. Now, the other states that are that light beige,
We're not part of the Union then, or
they were part of the Union, but they had slavery as a compromise to the Confederacy. So Missouri, Kentucky, what's West Virginia,
didn't have
Maryland,
it.
they did have slavery.
They
did have slavery, but they were part of the Union. So but you see, they were a buffer to the Confederacy.
Okay.
It's like the wall Trump wants to build. It was a buffer. 1910. I know you were Boy Scout. I wasn't. Did you go all the way?
I went to the last rank before Eagle Scout.
So William D. Boyce was he incorporated the Boy Scouts of America in 1910.
A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient,
I thought that guy in the middle looked like you in the little.
Reverend. That does look that's like a Cub Scout uniform, though.
Right. Then the guy on the left is the Boyce, and the other guy, I forget I don't know what what his shirt says.
You said that it was incorporated by Boyce.
Yeah, William
But
Boyce.
Didn't the Boy Scouts, weren't they created by Baden Powell?
I don't know. I'm just could be fake news. I don't know if Crawley did this.
No, it's not. But I'm wondering if anyway. Could be fake. We're in the realm of fake news.
There are times when we've done this where people will call up and correct us. Remember with birthdays.
And as a result of that, every time I have a date in front of me for the science stuff, I double check, and sometimes there's 3 different dates.
Yeah, I didn't check this one, so well, it's about 1910. 1922, the White House began using radio. With U.S. President Harding had it installed. He's a good-looking guy, number 29. Isn't he? Harding? He looks like he could be president now.
He looks like the banker that denies your loan to me. Looks like the guy that says, "No, I'm sorry, you don't have enough credit."
No.
He's kind of fatherly, but he's also could be stern.
Okay.
But you like that look?
I thought he looked okay for that time of year, for 1922. 1952, Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the British throne. Her father, George VI, had died on February 6th. There's the Queen.
So we literally just celebrated the 65th year of her reign. Is that right?
Yeah. I had some other funny pictures of her, but I chose these 3. But that hat really is absurd when you think about that crown. I mean, look at that thing, how big that is. She's the only one who can really wear that, right? I mean, can anybody else really put that on and wear it? And she's very serious about it. She got that.
Well, she better be. 65 years of keeping this
iron this crown,
this charade up of the divinely appointed royalty. She better be. But look at how young she was when she was.
Well, I actually had a picture. I had a picture. So that's the same crown that she's in with the older one. Then I had a picture of her with the younger one. But it's. I'm wondering when she's going to retire. I'd be over it by now.
No, she will not retire. She will die. And
is Charles going to get her? Or is she going to skip him?
No, Charles will be the king, and unless he's dead, and then it goes to Prince William.
Well, I think it's time for her to hang it up a little bit and relax.
I don't think they can.
Ever dividend? Yes, she can.
No, if she left the throne, that would be an abdication, and that's not.
Did you ever have the drink she likes?
What does she like?
That Dubonnet, or I don't know how to say it in French. Dubonnet.
Dubonnet, yeah.
Dubonnet with a slice of. And only she's allowed to drink it at events.
Really?
It's a slice of lemon with 2 cubes on top, the Dubonnet, and some gin. Tastes horrible.
Oh my God.
I tried making it. I was reading about what they drink at Christmas. Not good.
Okay.
The Kennedy administration prohibited travel to Cuba in 1963.
Wow.
No se puede ir a Cuba. So you were born.
Like you roll out your Spanish. Very good.
In 1971, the NASDAQ stock market debuted. It's the National Association. I never knew what it stood for. The National Association of Securities Dealers Automated Quotations. It's on the American Stock Exchange, the second largest exchange in the world.
Okay, now that picture that Tim put up for NASDAQ, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll describe it to you.
We're in there
if you're
somewhere.
Listening, you're not watching. Yeah, we're actually to the, we're
left.
right behind the guy in the middle, a little bit to the left.
Yeah.
Because that's Matt Scalarood, and we got to go to the closing bell of the NASDAQ one day, right?
Yeah, it was LGBT week.
LGBT week, and I don't know. Yeah,
we're there somewhere.
No, maybe we're over to the other side.
Who knows? Look for us. There we are.
There we are. There's Tim.
That
He's wearing
green
a green
shirt that Paul and Mass told me never to wear again.
And there's me. Yeah, he told you never to wear that again?
He said I looked horrible.
Okay.
1980, Jimmy Carter announced his plan to reintroduce the draft. I think everyone should serve at least 2 years of service in the military. That's me.
Many countries do that, right?
I don't think we'd have as many wars. I think if we all had skin in the game.
Can you name 3 countries? Well, now here. Okay, wait. Before I even go there, did you do this for me?
Oh, I always do it for you.
I mean, I'm the eye candy is fabulous, but this picture on the lower right of all these
that's real. That's in
those
Afghanistan.
Are real? Those are actual military guys?
Yeah, they're just goofing around. What are you going to do out there? It's a desert.
They're goofing.
You're either killing Al-Qaeda or you get a little downtime with Coca-Cola.
Wow.
Sure.
Should have considered a career in the military, but of course.
You've been thrown out back then, John. Days weren't allowed.
Kicked out on my ass. I don't even think I would have made it through boot camp. Maybe not.
You know, I was in ROTC for 2 years, and
You
I
did that
decided
on
not
cut,
to. Yeah, I decided to.
I always admire people who do it, though, like those who go to West Point or those who join.
It was just doing ROTC was a lot of work. And in 2010, MTV dropped the music television moniker from its logo. Can you believe it took them that long? 2000. I mean, they haven't had music on there since the 80s, have they?
You mean they just dropped the...
They dropped music television.
Tim put up a series of quotes if you're listening on iTunes.
Logos.
or sorry, logos, and it always was the one on the left. I remember
Yeah.
the music. So now it's just MTV.
Right, but the one on the bottom right, there's a proposal. There's a bunch of proposals going around for them to totally change their branding. The one on the right is, which they said is kind of close to where they might go. But I don't know what the M's going to stand for. They're not doing music anymore. Mindless.
I always thought they lost their way when we stopped doing the music videos. We used to
so,
love the music videos. My God.
So what happened in science?
Don't be blinded with science. Here's what you need to know from the week in science, according to John. It's poetry in motion.
All right, I got a couple of quick hits. I call them quick hits, and then a article about science today. 1928 in February, the Lazy Boy was created. The first Lazy Boy was created. Now, I was shocked at this. I always thought the Lazy Boy was that upholstered chair with the handle on the side, but it turns out that the original Lazy Boy was made out of plywood and a yardstick. It was a porch chair. It was a reclining porch chair.
It looked like an Adirondack chair almost.
Yeah, exactly. So it was invented by Ed Shoemaker, who lived till 1998, and his cousin Edward K.N.A. Nabush designed the first one with, as I said, plywood and a yardstick. Comfortable wood chair for the porch. It evolved to the upholstered chairs we know today so it was only 1 year later they evolved it to the upholstered full-born spring thing that you saw before. 1916, Bandelier National Monument was proclaimed like kind of when we went to see Craters on the Moon National Monument.
Right.
So it's not a national park. Did we ever get the differentiation figured out between National Monument and National Park?
Funding.
Was it just a difference in?
There's some long explanation, but it essentially was funding.
Okay, so this is a national monument.
We decided.
Part of the national park system, and it was discovered by Adolphe Bandelier, a 19th century pioneering anthropologist whose main focus was the American Pueblo Indians of
You're
Southwest.
climbing a ladder?
Okay, so it's a Pueblo, and there's other pictures that show it from a distance, but I purposely chose a picture on the right of people ascending a ladder to something called Ledge House. The minute I saw it, I'm like, I got to go up that ladder.
No interest.
The reason I put that up there is because if we were doing this as a road trip, you and Bob would be like, we're going to stand down there to the left. We're going to wait for you. You go up to see Ledge House and come right back
Open to the
down.
clay oven. It's nice and hot in New Mexico. Where's it? Arizona, New Mexico?
New Mexico. And
little clay houses up there?
they're all built into the cliff. They're cliff dwellings, yeah. And it's one of the nation's preeminent sites for this. There's only one or two around that are considered to be the really super well preserved and fine examples of how the Native Americans lived back then. And last quick hit is and this pops up perennially when we used to be on our old platform. Every couple years, the date would fall to this zone. It was the first activation of the world's, I guess would say arguably the first electronic device was the ENIAC in the University of Pennsylvania. In fact, I think they have a room dedicated to this. That's a computer, yeah, at
probably did 2 + 2.
University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Well, it did complex calculations. It was run by vacuum tubes, and these women that would move the cords around to change the ones and the zeros and the ins and the outs, and it was a proof. It was actually part of a World War II effort to create a computer that was going to hopefully help the Department of Defense, but University of Pennsylvania was involved. And today there's still a room, if you went to UPenn, that has some of this equipment in it, apparently.
You'll have to come down and look at it.
And the last thing, this was the article that I thought was fascinating. Okay, so who doesn't love a tomato? You like tomatoes?
I like tomatoes when they're nice. I had 2 bad ones today.
Yes. Okay, so tomatoes, everybody loves a fresh garden-grown tomato, right?
Yeah.
But where do we have to mostly buy our tomatoes? In a grocery store. And they usually taste like nothing.
Right.
Like water or something. Scientists have figured out a way to recreate or to correctly flavor tomatoes using genetic modification to the tomato plant. So they have tested 160 different tomatoes from around the world, extensively categorizing why one tastes better than the other, and they're now giving the results to tomato breeders. I didn't know there was such a thing as a tomato breeder. But these are growers that grow tomatoes, and the idea is if the grower uses the genetic map that these scientists have created for the perfect tomato, whether it's a cherry tomato or an heirloom, whatever, that a hothouse-grown tomato can soon taste just like one grown in a garden.
In the summer?
Yeah.
Like an heirloom or
Like
something?
exactly.
Well, that'd be good.
But it's up to the tomato growers to do that.
It's going to be expensive.
Probably,
Whole Foods.
Yeah, whole paycheck.
Paycheck.
And by the way, they even know their nickname at the store. They'll laugh. Oh yeah, we're called.
Are you growing tomatoes this summer?
It's not my domain. I don't have a green thumb. I kill things.
I know, but is Bob going to be allowed to grow tomatoes this summer?
Bob could turn our whole field into a tomato farm if he wants to. Well, let's see where that goes. Right.
We've got 3 quick business birthdays.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
Aside from my mother, Shirley, who's celebrating her birthday on February 9th.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Happy
it's my
birthday,
mom's
Shirley.
birthday. She's probably watching. She'll tell me I look bad in this
You should have your
shirt.
dad call in. He and I could talk the rest of the show.
The show's only an hour. So, I was telling that story the other day.
Did not want me to meet his dad. And the minute I met his dad, oh, Mr. Bennett.
Endless chatter about nothing. Talk
Your
the horns
dad and
off a
I
goat.
might disagree. There's some finer points of wood
Talk
cutting.
about wooding and wood, whatever. Yeah. So, February 9th, which is Thursday, we have 3 birthdays, business birthdays. Sidney Terrell was born February 9th, 1949 in Casablanca. He's 68 years old. One of the worst executives of all time. He worked at...
I was going to say, you made this look like a rogues gallery.
Yeah, the only one, the star is in the middle, the female. But he was one of the worst performing CEOs of all time. Eli Lilly. He was chairman of Eli Lilly for 9 years, and he's doing some consulting work now. You never know whether they can survive. He left with $12 million. Maggie Wildrotter, you know her as Mary Agnes Sullivan. She's 62 today. Thursday. She was CEO of Frontier Communications for 9 years as well. Then she retired as chairman April 2016. During her tenure, she grew the company from a regional telephone company with under $1 billion in assets to a national broadband voice and video provider with operations in 26 states and revenue over $10 billion. So she's a superstar.
Was Frontier originally like the Colorado, Denver area?
Yeah, I think so. Well, that's Frontier Airlines too, right?
Okay.
And then another person who I had the pleasure of meeting, George Richard Rick Wagner Jr., 64 today, on Thursday. I keep saying today. American businessman, former chairman and CEO of General Motors, as we used to call it in the trade, Generous Motors, because they always had incentives. General Motors, he was forced to resign by the White House in 2009.
Was he special?
So the Obama administration, when they were going to bail out the auto industry, they said he has to leave. So part of the deal of them getting money from the government was that he had to resign. So he left in 2009. The company had lost more than $82 billion.
And he landed with what kind of
under his tutelage. He left after 32 years. He retired with $10 million, $1.65 million in benefits for the first 5 years, a pension of $74,000 a year beyond, and a $2.6 million insurance policy. He could cash out at any time. Poor Rick. I hope he's doing okay.
all your rogues
birthday,
gallery
Rick.
bad apple execs.
They all last about 9 years and walk away with millions.
And they make a ton of money. Well, I swear we're doing something.
We're all doing something wrong. So that's it.
All right, folks. We have with us in studio actor Karl Gregory, who is on a show on Pop TV that you should check out. While we get him set up, we'd like you to check out this really cool interstitial. There's a word that Tim and I love. An interstitial is anything less than like 20, 30 minutes, like 2 minutes, 4 minutes.
30 seconds plus.
This is 30 plus. So this is a piece that VW had commissioned about a National Geographic photographer who is looking to photograph the Bonneville Salt Flats. Now, I saw this, and I said to Tim, we need to do a road trip out to the Bonneville Salt Flats. And Tim's like, why? This guy just did it for us.
First we go to Afghanistan.
So stay with us while we get Karl set up here on set and check out this very beautiful video from VW about the Utah Bonneville Salt Flats, and of course, nominally, it's about the All-Track, their new car with all-wheel drive, which we love. So we'll be right back.
There's nothing like Utah anywhere else in the world. You've got layers beneath the surface and above the surface, and sometimes an endless surface that just stretches as far as the eye can see. My name is Renan Ozturk. I'm a climber, an artist, and a National Geographic photographer. I went on assignment for Volkswagen in the desert in Utah to showcase the new Golf Voltrack. The idea was to get into some of these wild landscapes and come away with a single photo and share the landscape in a new and exciting way. Utah is really the ultimate testing ground for not only camera gear, but also your vehicle. I can safely say that I pushed the all-track pretty hard, and I could really feel the car just grip the road. In a landscape as stark as the salt flats, there's nothing around as far as the eye can see. And you have space to think, space to process things. If you're a photographer that's seen a lot of beautiful places, you can get jaded and lose your drive. But like going back to a place for me that's close to home, like the salt flats, and constantly trying to find new beauty is a good mental exercise. Shooting the salt flats for me is really about finding that perfect light. It's nearly impossible to find a new frame because it's been shot so much, but it's also a place that'll always be infinitely different and changing with the light. When you put a figure on that landscape, it just pops. And it's a really beautiful, simple composition that also combines a beautiful moment of reflection. There's always something that you can find in a particular landscape. You just have to remain curious.
Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Try, really try.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
I never try anything. I just do it.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host John Nash. Later on in the show, find out if you live in a happy place.
That's
Look at John looking at me like I got 20
That's
heads.
Tim's way of teasing Tim's list, which is going to be coming up at the end of the show.
But before that, as promised, we have joining us Karl Gregory from Nightcap, which is a pop TV series. You're an actor and a comedian and award-winning bartender, I saw also.
I am an award-winning bartender.
We need to talk about that as well.
Check out my resume or my website.
We did everything.
Great.
because that's what we do. But welcome to the Focus Group.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about Pop TV and Nightcap before we.
Yeah, sure. Well, Pop TV is a new cable network. They have one super successful show, Schitt's Creek, with
have you watched Schitt's
Catherine
Creek yet?
O'Hara and Eugene
But I
Levy.
hear good things about it.
And in fact, is it
fantastic
his
show.
son who stars as his son?
Yeah,
Who he
Dan
and-
Levy.
Did they two of them co-write the show? Is that how that?
I'm not sure who gets writing credit, but yeah, his son is on the show.
Is it on cable?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on your cable network.
175
On Time Warner
or Spectrum.
I'm in Philadelphia. I've got the Comcast.
Being correct.
Philly.
Just look up Schitt's Creek, then you'll nail
Who's
the
the star?
Kathleen
Catherine
O'Hara.
O'Hara and Eugene Levy.
Okay.
Also very familiar to you from a lot of Christopher Guest's movies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
which I
Best in
love.
Show,
Oh, yeah.
Spinal Tap, the whole bit.
And they're doing really great work in this. So,
Amazing.
Nightcap is Pop's second original comedy series, created and starring Ali Wentworth. We have a ton of celebrities on. It's all backstage at a late night talk show, at a fake late night talk show.
So it's a mockumentary. That's what they call it, right?
Yeah, except it's not shot documentary style. It's shot, kind of sitcom.
Okay.
But it's
And when you say sitcom, since we grew up with some of the best, you're talking the 3-camera setup. Traditional.
well, no, I'm talking like 1 or 2 camera, not
Okay.
live studio audience. Like we.
okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
shot season 1 in an office building in Times Square.
So it's shot in New York then?
Yeah.
Not in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of celebrities that come on that kind of play caricatures of themselves.
But they play themselves,
Yeah.
but they're either over the top or they're...
Yeah.
Who's your
yeah.
character? Your character is Marcus,
I
right?
play Marcus. I'm the pansexual hair and makeup guy for the late night TV show. Currently
What's
married.
pansexual mean for people who don't understand?
For
that?
people who don't know what pansexual is, someone who identifies as pansexual can be emotionally or sexually attracted to anyone of any gender identity, sexual expression, so they can really run like the whole.
So beyond bisexual.
Oh, way beyond bisexual. Way beyond.
So do you play? Are you a gay guy on the show or what?
No,
Well,
I'm
he's pansexual, so he could be gay on one episode, he could be straight on the next.
No, Marcus is married to a woman, and they have children.
Have we seen her?
No, I don't think we ever will. Except I kind of want like Leah Delaria to come in and play my wife. But Marcus does talk about his past with men quite a bit, maybe too much, but but it makes for some really good comedy.
Now the show is going into its second season.
Yeah, we start shooting season 2 on Monday.
Wow, congratulations. And how was the first season received? Obviously, if you're doing a second, there must have been a good, positive feedback.
Yeah, I mean, we got greenlit for season 2 before season 1 even aired. So I assume that's from great market research and test audiences and stuff that people really
Congratulations.
Were like,
What a great gig. What a fun gig to have.
Yeah, and it's just a really, really fun show. The entire cast and crew and the celebrities that came in, everyone was just really willing to do whatever and make fun of themselves.
So are you from New York City?
I grew up on Long Island.
Okay, because so many people that want to be actors come to New York. You want to hit it, whether you do theater or. So I mean, for you to land this gig on Pop TV and Nightcap, I mean, were there a lot of auditions, or did it come pretty easy?
Well, let me tell you, this is the oddest business in the world because I've been doing it for a long time. I have 2 degrees in acting. I got this show because one of my friends who I went to graduate school with, Cherie Rice, we met at Brown Trinity, and she was in the show already. She was in the pilot. And they needed a really funny gay guy, and Allie was working with Cherie on the pilot, and Cherie goes, "Oh well, I know a guy,
I know a funny gay."
So they called me up, and
and a lot of people could say that.
Yeah.
So 10 people on that crew could have put forward the funny gay guy, and they.
Absolutely.
But the director's idea of funny gay guy is going to be different from somebody's.
Yeah. So I just happened to be very lucky that Allie, took Cherie's word, and they pulled me in. We shot the pilot for 2 days, and then it was like a year and a half until we got the contract for season 1.
A year and a half from the creation of the pilot. That's not uncommon, right?
No, not at all. That's actually kind of quick, I think. Wow. I mean, I don't have this is like my first real TV show. I've done little things here and there, but this is my first experience on like a major show.
Where'd you go to school?
Undergrad, I went to Syracuse University.
Okay.
And I got my graduate degree at Brown Trinity in Rhode Island.
Oh.
But your bartending experience and your a lot of your theatrical work is Ithaca.
Yes, yeah.
Some Chautauqua thing up there or something? Or no?
No, actually, well, Chautauqua was near there, but I worked at the Kitchen Theater Company in Ithaca for about 6 years as a resident actor. Met my husband in Ithaca. We stuck around there for a while. And then I went to graduate school, and it was time to move back to New York.
So you bartended to make ends meet?
Of course.
So
I'm an actor.
What was your? Do you have a famous drink?
Vodka.
But don't they always say that? People always say, bartenders hate that question. What do you make good? What's your,
Yeah, the bartender's answer is, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah, and is it a thing of, I would say it would be different for me. I would ask a bartender what their favorite drink to make is. Like maybe there's one that they just...
Oh, that's good.
They're not going to say a mojito. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work, although that was one of our famous drinks at Felicia's.
Well, and when they hit, you had to...
It's too much work.
Yeah.
What do they call that when you grind the little...
Muddle
the leaves? Tim and I had a guest on years ago when we were over on another platform, and we were having someone from Absolute Vodka come on to demonstrate the perfect Bloody Mary. He was a mixologist.
Ooh,
guy rolls in,
hard.
looks like he'd been out all night. He had been out all night.
It doesn't look, was
out all night. Had everything but the vodka. So luckily we were on radio. Was the magic, the illusion of the mind, right? So we're drinking them, and we're like, ooh, this is good. And then someone calls in and says, hey, how would it be if it was a Virgin Mary? And Tim goes, we'll get back to you. But I asked him a question about cocktails once, and I said, people always ask, you go to a bar, you want to order something, and you don't know what to order. And he had like 3...
And you still order that drink every time we go out?
Which is?
A gimlet.
A vodka gimlet.
That's my drink.
With...
Fresh.
Lime.
Bingo.
Right.
And it was
is
fresh lime juice that makes the
the fresh
difference.
lime juice.
And when a bartender does that right. You just when the drink isn't. That's one of the ones I was saying.
You want to see him dumping roses or something else in it.
It tastes.
I always
off.
send it back.
It's off, and when it's done right, you're like, it's a great drink.
Yep.
That's one of your favorites.
Do you know my trick as a bartender when I was making vodka gimlets? You put a tiny splash of club soda on top, and it gives it just a tiny bit of fizz that you can't really taste. You can't taste the club soda, but it gives it a little
bite.
Yeah, it gives it a little something. Yeah.
What is it when you do a vodka and a citrus thing? Not a gimlet, though. It wouldn't be like a martini. I never know what you call that. If you said you just wanted
Vodka and
vodka
lime is
up
a
with
gimlet.
lime, is that all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I thought it was something different.
No.
Huh.
So, would you say your roots are basically theatrical?
Yeah.
As opposed to television, or and would you say as well that comedy is not new to you?
Oh no.
But when
comedy comes very easily to me.
Not to everybody though, and
No.
I think that the thing about comedy, many comedians have claimed that it's the hardest thing to do. Not just physical comedy, but the entire thing of how you interpret a line, how you say it.
Yeah.
And the 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
and
comedy's math, and math is hard.
Comedy is math.
I'm so bad at math. Yeah.
But there's also a level of intelligence that has to come with it too that people don't get sometimes. I think with comedy.
Yeah, and you're also gauging an audience. I mean, especially in theater and TV, you don't, unless you have a live studio audience. But in theater, you're constantly trying to gauge the audience to see where the crest of the laughs are and where you can get the next laugh in and how your timing has to be. I mean, you said, 1, 2, 3, that's comedy. But it's math to figure out how to make something funny.
Through the whole body language, and of course you're being given direction by the director, and ultimately his vision is going to be the one that you're plugging into. On the comedy thing, on the comedy topic, Tim and I have talked for many weeks now since the November elections that we feel that regardless of where you sit on how that all played out. Mm-hmm. Any incoming administration, any incoming president is going to always have the satirical side, the comic side. And what I find fascinating about the Trump administration is I think that a lot of comedians and editorial cartoonists are still trying to figure out where that line is.
Sure.
And this past weekend, we had 2 such skits. We had Alec Baldwin reprising his role as Trump with the Steve Bannon character, which was funny.
Yep.
But then, in my opinion, the Melissa McCarthy sketch with Sean Spicer,
comedy gold,
knocked it out of the park.
Nailed it.
But why?
Nailed it.
Is it? See, my interpretation of that was she took that press conference and she made fun of the press conference.
Yes.
Not necessarily going after Sean Spicer. Per se.
Yeah.
Well,
But she also used actual words that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
The same thing that Tina Fey did with Sarah Palin. That's why Tina Fey's Sarah Palin character was such a hit for years and years and years, was because she was using real, actual things that, this person said, which, to, I would say, a majority of Americans are kind of absurd.
Well, and
you need to apologize to me.
But see, that's what I thought worked on that's why I thought the humor was funny, potentially not only to those who are in opposition to the administration, but possibly to those who are also big fans of it, because it was so absurd and so comically well done that I thought, how could you not laugh at this?
Because she's not only, being a heightened version of Sean Spicer, but then she takes it even further when she takes the podium. And starts pushing that person, because you can kind of see in Sean Spicer's eyes, he wants to do that.
He takes her space.
He really wants to.
She had a great week because then she went and had what I thought was the best Super Bowl ad for the Kia Niro.
It was incredible.
Yeah. That ad she did was great. So she had Saturday Night Live on Saturday, and then she does the commercial.
Now,
on Sunday.
I don't know who you guys follow on Twitter, but there's a huge push to get Rosie O'Donnell on SNL as Steve Bannon.
There's some bloggers. Some bloggers are saying no, don't do it.
Do you think she could pull it off though?
Absolutely.
Because the surprise to me was when you realized it was Melissa McCarthy. It took a second, and then you're like, oh, in the best Monty Python-esque tradition, woman playing a guy, the whole bit.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you set up a comedian for failure when you set the standard or the bar and say, you're going to do Steve Bannon.
Well, why don't we try it?
That's true.
I mean, like before you put her on TV, get her in a room, get her in that makeup. SNL has the money to do that.
Yeah, she said she'd do it, but
how it
there was
does.
some people going against it and saying that they didn't think it'd be smart for her to do.
Why?
I think there was some because of the huge feud she's had with Trump over the years.
Well, what's it going to do? Is it going to make it
Not going
worse?
to make the feud worse. Yeah.
I'm just surprised he hasn't called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas again. Now she got in trouble last night.
A red card and she can't speak on the floor.
I'm surprised. I was waiting for that one again.
Really fascinating.
I was waiting for that again.
Well, and so, okay, so on this topic of comedy, what comedy can do for us and how it can show how absurd things are to all parties involved.
Yeah.
That was almost comedy, watching her get told she can't speak anymore because she broke some Rule 19, which sounds like District 12.
Which they've all broken.
Oh, yeah.
They've all broken.
They've all broken, of course.
And so there's other levels of comedy, like on Morning Joe, and Mika says to John Thune, who she's interviewing from South Dakota, like, well, don't you think when Ted Cruz calls the Senate Majority Leader a liar to his face, that's kind of... Well, no, but Elizabeth clearly broke the rule. I mean, if comedians were doing it, we'd all be laughing. We're like, oh my, this is so absurd.
Yeah. We'll see it on SNL this weekend, I guarantee you.
You think so?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because it's another one of those moments where you're like, what is actually happening here?
Now, does your show, Nightcap, would the writers? I'm assuming a number of the scripts are already done. Like, when you shoot again, are you only looking at the first show of the new season?
Well, we shoot around a little bit because we have to work around the celebrity schedules, whoever we get for the shows. So we might do, a bunch of scenes from episode 1, but then if we have time in the day, we'll do a few scenes from episode 2 that don't have any celebrities in it, so we can make the most out of it.
So topicality current events might not be something. How often did current events play a role in Nightcap last season?
Not really in season 1 because we were all kind of cool with Obama.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There was nothing really going on that we were all like, up in arms about. But I mean, I'm very curious to see what happens in these season 2 scenes to either say it directly or say it inadvertently or, kind of subvert kind of what's going on in the administration.
And does that actually work? Like I'm going back to Murphy Brown days when Murphy Brown took on Dan Quayle. Mm-hmm. If you see those shows in repeat, unlike Lucy, which you had no idea who the president was, what the weather was outside. They almost live in a world by the Seinfeld to a huge degree, never had a political. But do you think when a show goes there, when a popular sitcom or a TV show writes that in, that do they automatically somehow anchor themselves to a point in time?
Kind of. And, I mean, SNL obviously does that for a living, but, for other shows, I mean, Seinfeld is a classic example that it was really an escape from all of the things about the world while still commenting on the world.
Yeah.
All in the Family.
Very New York.
If you think about, but if you think about All in the Family, there was the Vietnam crisis plus Nixon Watergate, so they tackled that head on, designing women with AIDS. And what was going on with Murphy Brown with the Reagan administration and so forth. So, but you're right. When you do watch those now, sometimes you feel like, and then you have to know the reference.
Yeah.
So could somebody watch the second? Do you have to watch the first season to get the second season for Nightcap? So you can watch them individually.
So Marcus, your character, you could pick up on him any point, and you're going to get either he's zany.
I think so.
Now, do you do stand-up?
Sassy and a little mouthy.
Did you ever do stand-up comedy?
No, I've never done stand-up. I did drag for a couple years there.
Where?
So, in New York.
What was your character's name, or did you have one?
We're probably not allowed to curse on this show, are we?
Say whatever you want.
Oh, well, her name is fucking Tanya.
I don't think I saw her. Where did she play?
No.
Fucking downtown.
She was fucking downtown.
She was outside looking for a gig.
She was very short-lived, Tanya.
Was she pretty?
But she had fun. She was gorgeous. I do say so myself.
You have time, maybe you can go on RuPaul's Drag Race or something.
Oh no. I mean, the reason that
How tough is that?
Really tough. The reason that I stopped doing drag was because it takes it's an entire career. It takes a long time to
a lot of work and a lot of money.
A lot of work and a lot of like
resources.
Yeah, resources, but getting out there and getting your name out there. And I was like, I have a career already.
Yeah, we had Hedda Lettuce on before Christmas, and Hedda was fantastic, but also talked about the business of when you're when you're a performance artist and this is your venue and this is your character.
You got to get yourself weekly gigs. You got to get audiences to those gigs, But I had fun while I was doing it. So I did a little bit of stand-up here and there. I hosted, a few different events around town. But it was mostly for fun.
Now, not too far astray from the political stuff, but keeping it to the LGBT community. Do you think, Tim and I debate this, we've lived through a couple of administrations that were not exactly friendly to our segment of the population. But we're all here.
Yeah.
And the country's moved on and we've moved forward. Do you think that many of your contemporaries or, your contemporaries were either A, taken by surprise, and B, are assuming nothing's going to happen? Like, what's the mood, do you think?
That's really interesting because I
know you contribute and you do a lot of
very
active in the community.
I had someone in my friend group recently say to me, who's another white gay male, say, well, nothing's really going to happen to us. We're kind of fine,
right?
Which is not really.
Well, it could be a fact.
I mean, it could be an alternative fact. No, but I mean, he did have, a bit of a point. But I think the way that the LGBT community has grown and expanded to really support not just the, white gay men and women who are fighting for marriage equality, but really, trans people of color who really are the most marginalized in our group, that now we're really starting to see the gay community stand up for all of the marginalized communities. I mean, there was a huge rally last weekend in front of Stonewall, in solidarity with refugees and Muslims and immigrants, So I think it heartens me to see a lot of the younger queer folk, kind of realizing we might be in for it. First they came for the gays, and then...
Will you go to the march in June that they're planning?
Unfortunately, I already have a vacation planned in Provincetown with my gays during that week.
Okay, so you'll be marching in Provincetown.
So we'll be marching in Provincetown.
Watch it on the
Maybe
TV
in
at the
drag.
boat slip. The boat slip has the TV, and you're like,
go, girls!
Having your vodka
during
gimlet,
disco tea.
screaming at the bartender. I said fresh lime juice, fresh, God damn it.
Whistles blowing, moving your
I drink
chair.
just punch it tea.
The little shot of rum in there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Karl, I want to thank you for coming in. Let our listeners know again and our viewers about when they could find Nightcap currently, I guess, on demand or.
I'm sure you can find it on demand. You can go to poptv.com.
Yes, they stream episodes at the website too. Okay.
And then season 2, I believe, will be out in the summer of 2017.
Excellent. Congratulations. Thanks for stopping by and sharing some of your positive energy and your great perspective on comedy. And
before you go, can you ask them to pick a number 2 to 10?
Yeah, pick a number 2 to 10.
7.
Okay. That's my number 2. All right. Karl Gregory, thank you. Check him out at Nightcap on Pop TV. Season 2 is coming out soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully have you back soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Kirk likes you too.
Brought to you by the new Volkswagen Golf All-Track, soon to be everywhere. Now back to the Focus Group with Tim and John.
Because he has a lot of chutzpah.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Heads are spinning, heads are spinning.
Listen, laugh, and learn.
I am not gay. I never have been gay.
That's my voice.
Heads are spinning, What happened to poor Sarah? Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. Tim Bennett here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, John Nash. It's now time for Tim's List, so give us a call at, John, you want to read the number? My eyes are bad.
877-962-6346. Sorry, no, I got it wrong.
So you're worse than me.
962-6846.
Now, on the bottom of the screen, if you're watching live here on YouTube or Facebook, we're looking today for Tim's list on the states that are the most well-being or the happiest. So, in other words, have you been to the dentist? If I asked you the question, have you been to the dentist, John?
Yeah.
And you said yes. And then I said, are you eating healthy? And you said yes. And do you exercise? And are you financially secure? So if I asked you those questions and you said yes, these states are what they've decided through Gallup, through surveys. Of our 50 states, they ranked 1 through 50. And we're looking for the top 10 states that are the happiest or the most well-being.
I get what you're saying. Well-being encompasses you're in good health, you have a good environment. You're happy states.
So we're looking for number one. We're looking for number one and number 7 for a pair of our famous
Are we going to be
songs.
overly surprised by this?
Listen, I was surprised last week and everybody got the answers. Last week seemed to be pretty easy about potatoes. This one I guess I was a little surprised because there were some states that I anticipated would be on the top 10 and weren't. I was not surprised about the unhappy states.
I was not.
And maybe what we can do is we can give an extra credit for the most unhappy state.
All right. So how does extra credit work? If you get one of the states on your list,
but it's not 1 or 7, you can guess extra credit.
Guess extra credit, and then that's going to give you
the unhappy
state.
You still get a pair of our socks.
Okay. I don't
want you guessing.
I'm flummoxed about what the unhappy state would be.
Oh, once you hear it, you'll be, oh, yes.
Maybe it's all right. So let's go down to Jersey and welcome Steve to the focus group. Steve, welcome to the show today.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I've got my little James Kirk dolly here. Retro guy. Tim doesn't like him, but I don't mind him. He's a doll. So what do you got for the state well-being? What's top?
Highest. They're calling it highest well-being states, but I think that's too confusing. So the happiest states. These are the top 10 happiest states in America.
I'm going to say Vermont.
Vermont's a good guess. Vermont comes in as the most intellectually curious state. But it comes in at number 6.
So he gets extra credit.
So now, you don't get socks, but you get extra credit. Could you?
Can get socks.
You want to? Yeah, you want to take a stab at the most unhappy state?
Of course, I'm from New Jersey. Why don't we guess that?
New Jersey?
Yes.
No, not even in the bottom 10.
No, seriously.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
Steve, I am totally. The minute Tim said this, he said it's going to be pretty obvious. I thought, well, maybe it's Jersey, but Jersey's a pretty state.
People are happy. They got Christie as governor.
Yeah, right. Everybody's moving out. It's the biggest state where people move out.
New Jersey, yeah.
Steve, what part of the state are you from?
Union County, like central, northern.
Sure. No, I'm always amazed at how beautiful Jersey is. When I go bike riding down there, I'll be riding along on roads going by Horse Farm, like Peapad.
beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Princeton is great. One of my favorite places. You got to go to Princeton.
All right. So you got Vermont. You're on the list. Didn't get socks. Didn't get the unhappy state question, the extra credit. But Steve, thank you for playing today, and thank you for being a listener and a watcher. And have a great day.
All right, thank
John,
you.
a listener and a watcher.
See, we got 2 platforms. Well, Kirk told me to say the watcher thing. So let's go to Don in Alabama. Don is a longtime fan of the show. Super smart. I think he may get this. So Don, what do you think?
Hawaii.
Why'd you say that?
Why? Because I was there about 16 weeks ago, and it was gorgeous and lovely and just amazing.
Everyone felt happy.
And you didn't want to leave, right?
Oh, yes. There was no stress.
86% of the population feels safe and secure. Number 1, Hawaii, the happiest state in the union. Now, some people don't think it's a state. It's overseas, according to... Wasn't that Obama's problem?
Yeah.
Oh.
But, so...
separate country.
Number 1, Hawaii. And if you're watching on YouTube, I got a little hula girl there. And I bought one of those when I was there. That was my car.
That's your car?
The hula girl on there. Yeah, that's an old picture.
Oh, okay. Excellent job, Don. Now, just drop us a line. Just say, hey, it's Don from Alabama, and your mailing address. I think we might have it. To focusgroupradio@gmail.com, and we'll get you some socks.
Will do, guys.
Thank you so much for playing today, my friend, and for watching and listening. And take care.
Thanks again.
So we're looking for the top 10 happiest states in America.
Happiest states.
So we're still looking for number 7 for a pair of our socks. But so far, listeners made the list. So Hawaii, number 1, and Vermont, number 6.
Number 6. And we're looking for 7 now because Don just got number 1. Let's go to Billy in New York. Billy, welcome to the show, my friend.
A land of enchantment in Mexico.
You're the land of enchantment. Are you in the path of getting some snow soon?
Yeah, just like you. We're, up here in the Catskills, we're looking for it.
Yeah, I don't mind snow in the winter. I mean, it's prettier until it gets that brown,
I only wanted snow around Christmas time, then I'm done. I didn't want any snow now.
Tim's never happy.
I'm not happy. What was your guess, Billy?
It was New Mexico, without a wall.
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Now, that's an interesting. New Mexico came up in my science thing as the Bandelier National.
Yeah, but it's not on the list.
Well, thank goodness, because I didn't cheat to find out.
No, you didn't. But you could. Do you have a guess on what the most unhappy state is?
Got to be New York.
No, it's not New York.
Well, I'm unhappy in New York.
But you never told us the most. No one's guessed. Just the top of the list, the unhappiest, right?
This is the most unhappy state for his extra credit because
Steve said Jersey.
New Mexico didn't make the list.
Billy said New York,
New Jersey, and New York. Right.
Yeah. This is interesting. All right. Well, Billy, thanks for playing today, my friend, and have really survive the snow. And we'll talk to you soon.
Later. Bye.
All right.
So we're looking for the 10 most unhappy, the 10 happiest.
Well-being.
Well-being.
Well, you had it there. The 10 happiest. Well,
it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing the way they phrased it.
Well, let's go out. Let's go to Joan right here in New York and see what she has to say. Joan, welcome to the show. It's a tough list today. States that are happy
state.
and you feel well and you're good. So, what's your guess, Joan?
Hi guys. First of all, big fan.
Oh, thank you.
My guess is Colorado.
Now, Colorado is a very good guess.
I love when Tim
Colorado
is like
Colorado has the healthiest eaters, and also the most financially happy. It must be all that pot money.
They also have weed.
Yeah, all that weed money. Well, Colorado comes in number 5.
All that weed.
Number 5 for Colorado.
But that means Joan gets extra credit question.
She gets right. So number 5, you didn't get the Sox, but you have a chance to win them if you guess the unhappiest state.
Now, we already heard Jersey and New York as the most, but they weren't on the list.
They're not on the list.
But you're looking for the most
unhappy, number 50, the worst state in the union.
Worst?
People are unhappy. They don't go to the dentist. They haven't taken care of themselves. They're eating horribly, watching a lot of cable, eating chips.
So, Joan, what do you think? I have no guess myself.
Well, other than the state of depression, I guess I would go for maybe Nevada.
Nevada. No. Nope.
Is it? How hard is this?
It's not hard. Once you hear it, you'll be like, of course.
Are you really Joan? Just for shits and giggles, take another stab at this. If it's not Nevada, do you think she can get it?
My guess would be Arkansas, maybe.
Well, now you're getting close. See, you're in the right area of the country. All you have to do is think of what's usually 49th to 50th in every category, and you're getting close. No, but it's not Arkansas.
All right. Well,
Joan, thank you so much for playing and for calling and for being a fan and for and Jim Kirk here on my desk here, my little Dolly. Oh, he's going to tip over. Dolly says thanks. Tim, I'll put him in the cup. He's going to get wet, but okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Joan. Take care.
I have another way you can guess what the most unhappiest state is.
How?
But I can give you the riddle that we used to do way back in the day, and then somebody will probably get it that's a fan of the show from the past. It's the southernmost northern state and the northernmost southern state. That's the unhappiest state.
Tennessee?
The southernmost northern state, the northernmost southern state, and I don't want you guessing.
Oh, all right. I'm not allowed to guess.
No, but that's the riddle. So if you were trying, do you remember that riddle from the show back in the day?
I do.
You remember what the state was?
No, I don't, and that's why I'm speaking out loud. I'm trying to guess like this. Hey, if you want to play Tim's list, 877-962-6846. We're looking for the. Well, there's actually two things going on. There's the happiest well-being states,
right?
Top 10. We've already guessed Hawaii,
Colorado,
Arizona, and did Joan have Colorado? Right.
Right. Colorado, Hawaii number 1, Colorado number 5, and Vermont number 6.
But we're looking for, and then if you get on the list or you call in, you get extra credit. And now that's the riddle that Tim is. Riddle me this, Batman. That's the unhappiest state, and you're saying it's the northernmost southern state and the southernmost northern state.
You don't know that one. You don't
Well,
remember?
Did we drive through it?
Yeah, of course we did. Well, we've driven through a lot of places.
I could guess. I could throw a guess.
I might have you guess because in the interest of time, I think our clock is running out, isn't it?
I was going to guess Kentucky.
No.
Louisiana.
No.
Alabama.
No, you just can't keep throwing names out.
Yes, I can. I'm not calling it. Hey, let's go to Brian. Let's go to Brian in PA before we wrap up the show. Hey, Brian, is this the Brian that didn't like The Honorable Woman?
What?
Brian, yeah. I got your text and you said I didn't like that show. It has to breathe like it's like a wine. You got to watch an episode or two. But Tim told me you dropped.
I fell asleep within the first 5 minutes.
All right, then that show's not breathing for you. Then
it wasn't the wine, was it, Brian?
No.
So what's your guess
maybe
for?
It could have been.
Yeah, what's your guess for Tim today?
Well, maybe I shouldn't guess because I know the worst one. But Pennsylvania, Tim. Come on, that's got to be the most
well-being,
happiest state.
Pennsylvania?
Come on.
No. It's not in the bottom. It's not on the top. It's somewhere in the middle. PA.
You guys PA's on the bell curve. Yeah. So Brian, you get extra credit. What's the?
Do you know the worst state, Brian?
I do because I know your riddle.
Oh, see, Brian's smart. He listens.
So a good friend of ours has a home there.
Jim Kirk is waving to you, Brian. He says, "You get it. You get it. You got the riddle."
Brian, you're going to be our last call because we're running up against the clock. So why don't you tell John what it is?
West Virginia.
Oh, of course. I should have known that.
Well, how many times have we done that riddle?
Oh, at least 4 or 5.
Right. Brian, you don't get socks because you make them.
At least 4 or 5. Take a pair out of the bag.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great one.
So West Virginia was the most unhappiest of states.
All right, so run through the.
So we'll run through the top 10. Number 10, I was kind of surprised about Texas. It's number 10.
Okay, I get that.
Number 9, Minnesota.
I get that.
And I've always said this, that little logo there, 10,000 lakes and 1 billion mosquitoes. A lot of mosquitoes there. Number 8, Montana.
Okay, we were briefly in Montana, right?
We don't know whether it was happy or not, though. Number 7, Arizona. That was who Carl picked.
Yes.
Karl Gregory. Number 6, Vermont, which is the most intellectually curious state. Number 5, Colorado, the healthiest
There's
eaters.
us at Telluride. We're doing our broadcast.
Doing Telluride and skiing. Number 4, state of Maine.
And there you and I. What was the name of that light? It's called
the Nubble Lighthouse. We're there, the Nubble Lighthouse, and we got from Paul and Mass my mug from the Goldenrod with the Goldenrod kisses.
Oh, he sent you that?
Yeah, isn't that nice? I drink out of it every morning.
I got a chocolate and a delicious spread.
You're a chocolate boy.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3, South Dakota, another state we liked.
And there's Tim and I at Mount Rushmore and being stopped by buffalo.
Buffaloes.
In September.
Number 2, of course they're happy. They get all that. They get an oil check every year. Or Alaska. They get a subsidy if you're an Alaskan resident.
There's got to be a way for you to work her picture in every deck.
So far, she's been in every week.
That could be like Jerry Seinfeld's Superman doll in every episode, right?
Sarah Palin. And number 1, with 86% of the people saying they feel happy, safe, and secure, is Hawaii. So that's the top 10 list today.
Excellent. Well done. Well done. Hey, everybody. Tim and I want to thank you for making time out of your day to tune in. If you don't get to see us live, 1 to 2 on Wednesdays on YouTube and Facebook, by all means, check out YouTube, Facebook, and, of course, if you have the audio feed, it's iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and now we're on the iHeart platform. My older sister is thrilled about that because she loves iHeart. And we want to say a big thank you to Volkswagen of America, our sponsor and partner here on the show. VW.com. Check out all the models. We're particularly leaning towards the all-track wagon because we've been asking for all-wheel drive for a long time. It's a beautiful car. Drives great, handles beautifully, and if you're in Snowmageddon, you're going to be happy you have one, right?
Well, panic tomorrow. There's going to be snow.
Buy milk and bread. The storm's coming. So thanks, and make time for us next week, and have a great one.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.